All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Strive for Good Life podcast. I'm Nino, and I'm here with Richard Okere, who is a business coach and strategist. I'm super excited to have him on because he's got lots of nuggets of wisdom to share with us today. And so, Richard, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Nino. I'm glad to be
Um,
here.
yeah, I'm glad to have you. So, how about we just jump right into it and you share with us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey, how you got started, those early influences, and
Yeah.
how you were brought to where you are today.
Okay. All right. So thank you everybody for watching this. Thank you, Nino, once again for having me. Like I said, my name is Richard Okere Jr. and I'm a business strategist, business coach. But the person you are seeing now has gone through a lot of evolving because I started out. I remember when I started out with the internet and I was seeing all the attractive, trendy stuff. That's where you have the blogging, affiliate marketing. You know, you will see ads of people telling you you can make $10,000 in one day. All those ads, and that attracted me as a young person. That was like, wow, so this is possible. Can you make all this money just from doing that? And I remember one day, I was trying to practice affiliate marketing. I remember spending all the night trying to figure out how to put my affiliate product on the web page, a web page that was literally not designed, very empty web page. And my head, I was like, if I should just copy that link and put it on that web page, by the next morning, I'm going to be a millionaire. So, but you can imagine how weird that sounded. By the next day, how disappointed I was also waking up and then checking my account, and then I was $0 richer. So that was the kind of the shock that came to me, like, okay, it's not the way people advertise it. But then that's what motivated me was the fact that if people could do this, if people are actually making money online from selling their skills, expertise, and knowledge, then there is a way to do it. And I was determined to find what that way is. And then fast forward, I was now, learning more about it, affiliate marketing, blogging. I read a lot of articles, I read a lot of books, bought a lot of programs. And then up until 2014, I had learned a lot. I had learned website designing. I had learned a whole lot, email marketing, all those things. But up until 2014, the question now was, okay, you've learned all these things, but you are not really making money from it in terms of how much you know compared to how much you can make in terms of revenue and how much impact also you can deliver. So I knew I needed to be playing the bigger game. And that was when I went on Facebook one day and was just checking out Facebook, not necessarily looking for anything. I can't remember what I was doing that day. But then I saw an advert by somebody 7 hours in another city in Nigeria, in Lagos, for people who know Nigeria. So, and I saw that advert and I was like, okay, awesome. I read the sales copy. He was advertising a training with him in a workshop. And I never met this guy before. He was different from every other popular internet marketing guy that we knew in Nigeria. And I was following all the popular guys. So I've never known this guy before. I've not heard his name. I Googled him, checked him out on his website, checked his social media, and I found that, oh, this guy is legit. Based on my knowledge of internet marketing, I could tell that, okay, this guy is legit in the things that he was saying. Then I paid for the program, traveled on by road, about 7 to 8 hours to meet this guy. There were other people who paid for the program. Fortunately for me, or unfortunately, I wouldn't know, but I was the only person who showed up out of the other people who paid for the program. So, and it turned out to become a one-on-one private coaching program. And then for 6 hours, he drilled me on what it means to play the next level game, how to document your knowledge, package your knowledge, and communicate the value that you have. And I was more interested in learning the principles and the strategies, not necessarily the product of whatever we have created at that meeting. That was going to be my product, so to say. But then I learned what the thinking behind what he was teaching me, and then I was able to use that to. I began to apply that. I began to use what he has taught me to apply to basically grow my brand. And that culminated into what I call the territorial domination framework, where I created my own framework, which I use to help people to be able to monetize their expertise, knowledge, and build a business out of it. One of my biggest clients is one of the top 10 parent coaches in the world. And that somebody recognized by Facebook. Facebook, invited her, gave her an award. She went to Facebook, they sponsored in the US to Facebook company. Wow. So she's the biggest in Africa. So that was one of the first people that I started, working with. Then I've worked with a lot of companies and individuals. One of my most recent results is my wife, actually. She launched.
Oh, really?
She launched her brand, and it was a very successful launch that we did, basically to launch her brand. And she started with an online course. It was madly successful. She had over 3,000 people who bought the course. And so the point of this whole story is basically just mentioning the fact that I went through a lot of down moments. I remember those times when I was, trying out. I wasn't making money. It was a struggle, but I was determined to figure it out. And I just thank God where I am today. And that's basically it.
Yeah, you've had quite a journey. So I'm curious, you said a lot of great things there, things that people can really take away for themselves. So the importance of finding an expert to kind of mentor you and teach you, fill in the gaps of what you didn't know, essentially. But you had already been in digital marketing for quite a few years, right? And you've been honing those skills of understanding how to put web pages together. And what are some of the other skills that you think were important in your journey to develop?
Okay, I think one of the critical skills that everybody needs to develop is thinking skills. Thinking in the sense.
What do you mean by that?
So when I say thinking, it's basically asking yourself questions. Another way to paraphrase that is questioning skills, because if you're asking questions, that means you are thinking. So why is this working for this person? What am I doing wrong? What do I need to do better? Who do I need to meet? Those questions, and then think it also in terms of what, for example, when you ask yourself the question, when you say, how do I become better at what I do? That's a question you ask yourself. So you think in terms of, what are the things that I have done that has brought me these results? Can I articulate those things? And then how can I put that into a framework? Now, of course, you might not necessarily get all the answers immediately, but doing that brain work, what it does is that it just keeps your mind active. It also keeps your mind receptive to new knowledge. Also, because if you are not thinking, you don't stretch your mind. So that's one of the most critical things that people need to learn how to do, how to think on your expertise, think on what your business also. So that's the first thing. The second skill that I would mention is that has helped me is having some digital marketing in general. So when I say digital marketing, I don't mean the whole tech knowledge and knowing how to, build funnels and connect. If you can do that, that's awesome. But people need to know that we're in the digital age, and as much as you try to run away from technology, it's going to keep running towards you. It's going to keep chasing you. So so
embrace it, right?
Exactly. So I had to learn that. So I meet a lot of people who struggle with technology, and they tell you, I'm not a tech person. I'm not techie. I can't learn all those things. But you just have to. So start with basic things like how do you design on Canva? I mean, that's one of the easiest now. How do you design on Canva? How do you send an email marketing campaign? How do you use probably a simpler platform like WordPress? All those things, start touching your hands on it. It's going to help you a lot. So those are the skills that I would mention. Then the other skill that I also mentioned is being able to document your process in a step-by-step way. So being able to document your process. So, and that is the foundation. That's the foundation of you being able to deliver results. If you cannot document how you arrived at results and how you can apply that to somebody else, then you cannot build a business with a lot of transformation. So that's one of the things that people need to learn how to do. I think that's basically the things that I'll mention. There are other things that go into it, like, mostly digital marketing, but I think that those things are things that can be learned. I like to focus on the hardcore things, that if you master those things, then every other thing just are things that you can even hire somebody to do those things for you.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just break down those things that you just mentioned real quick, just to make it a little bit easier for the audience to understand. Some of the people listening may not, fully understand kind of what you just mentioned, but essentially when it comes to technology, right? So there's so many platforms out there that make it very simple to design web pages, for example. I mean, WordPress has, you can use Elementor, which is a plugin to just drag and drop things. Right. You mentioned Canva for graphic design, which is, again, just you drag and drop things onto a page. Super simple, right? So you don't need to have a lot of very technical skills to be able to do this at this point. And with the evolution of AI now being, plugged into everything,
Exactly.
It makes it even easier. I mean, to the point where web pages are designed just with a word prompt. You can just write out what you want and it'll build it for you. So this idea that, technology is a scary thing, it's just not really the case anymore. It's becoming really basic for users to jump in and be able to do some really cool things with. And you just, like you said, you just have to not be afraid of it. And so I think that's a big piece of it. The other thing you touched on was being able to package your skills and your expertise into a product. So having a really solid offer. And so that's very important because of the other piece that you mentioned, which is the transformation that people need to have for it to be a good offer, right? People want to know what is going to happen in their lives if they purchase your product, if they sign up for your service. They want to know that they're going to get results and be clear on what that looks like in their lives. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to get into your framework. Your territorial domination framework for a little bit. Do you want to lay that out and kind of break it down a little bit for the audience as well?
Okay. So the territorial domination framework is the framework that I use to help people. So the whole idea is that I'm not just focused on you starting to make money or building flex for what you do. I'm also interested in you dominating your market. I'm also interested in you going into the market and stamping your authority in that market as one of the leaders in that market. So that's why I call it territorial domination, dominating the territory. So there are basically 6 steps to it, 6 steps that you need to take, and they are in an order. So the first step is mastering your brand message. So mastering your brand message is basically mastering your brand message is basically how do you communicate your value in a way that people understand that you are the person for them? Also in the way that people see the future that you want to give to them. How do you communicate your value in a way that people resonate with you, understand that and want to basically work with you? So it basically means being able to package that. And packaging your message is essentially about 3 things. It's about understanding what it is that you are doing. So what it is that you are doing is your brand message or your brand description, how you describe what you do. Second is how is your framework, your step-by-step process to take people from a point of problem to a point of solution. And then the last thing is why. So why is your brand story? So that's the first level, being able to articulate your message. The second level is productization. Productization is basically the different types of products that you can create and offer to solve people's problems, the different kinds of solutions that you can create. So that's where you have things like online courses, one-on-one coaching program, group coaching program, digital products. All those things are inside this. And people also have to understand that there's a difference between creating products and making an offer. So a product is the what you have created, the tangibles, so to say. But the offer is everything that comes with that you are offering people. So that is your offer, what you are promising to give to people, probably at a specific time, in a specific kind of way. That is your offer. So that's the second level. The third level is platform acceleration. Platform acceleration has to do with building your own leadership platform where people, because every leader is known for people who follow you. So if you don't have people who follow you, you're not a leader. So the whole idea is to build your own leadership platform, and how I encourage people to build that. Sorry if you lost me there. Okay. How I encourage...
I can still see you.
Okay. How you encourage people to do that is, I like people to start with there are two types of products that I ask people to create. There are tribe builders and there are wealth builders. So tribe builders are products that you use to build your tribe. So that's where you have basically cheap products, so to say. And then there are the wealth builders. That's where you have the high-ticket products. So the tribe builders are things I encourage people to use to build their community. So basically build your community around people who have bought your product and services. So no matter how much they spend, $1, $2, $10, use those people to build your community. As they are paying, assemble them in a place, offer them more value, and then sell more stuff to them. So the other part is the epic launches. So epic launches are when you now have created your products. How do you launch your product to those people in that platform and even new people? So, and I usually recommend that you use two methods. So you can use webinars, or you can use online summit, virtual summits. So those are two things that, if done very well, can give you a lot of attention, help you also to bring value to people, and also help you to, I see webinars and online digital, especially webinars, I see them as people giving you the permission to sell to them or do a sales presentation to them in a way that gives them value and also makes you money. So that's how I see webinars. So that's for epic launches. Then the number 5 thing is celebrity positioning. So celebrity positioning is you are making money, you have done a launch, and people have started buying your products. Then the other thing is, how do you now gain that leadership positioning in your market? And that's where you have things like content creation, and not just content creation of any kind. There's a type of content that you create, especially, for example, you can do a 14-day content creation challenge on all your platforms to just be in the face of people. So that's one. That's another thing that comes to do is search engine optimization comes to this also. You also have media appearances. Media appearances are very key also. That's where this comes in. Basically, anything that you do, that's when people go on Google and search your name comes out tops, because that's the most basic way to know who a leader is in the market. So the last part is your sustainability. So sustainability is how you automate your business so that people can reproduce the results that you are producing, especially people that work with you as a team. Documenting the processes, so your team, when they come to work with you, they can watch the video, not just things that have to do with tech, but everything that has to do with your organization, the business you are doing, things like your brand strategy, your vision, your mission, your brand purpose, all those things come into sustainability, how you build your legacy business. So that's where the things like team management, things like even your performance, because when it comes to working with a team, the effort required from you, the effort and sacrifice required from you changes, because now you're working with people. Yes. So you basically have to improve your leadership. So that's basically the last territorial domination framework in systems.
I love it. I think it's a solid framework, and obviously to successfully grow a business, it's going to require a lot of different parts, a lot of different skills. And so I love that you've laid it out so straightforward. So I had a couple questions because, you said it was really interesting. So a lot of what you've talked about is this idea of being able to package your knowledge. What do you recommend for people that don't feel like they have a lot of knowledge, that are just starting out? Maybe it's, how do you get kind of someone new, I guess you would say, plugged in and set up with some kind of a product? What would you recommend?
I usually get that question. People come to me and they are like, okay, I don't know what to sell. What do I package? Generally, the question of it's kind of related to the question of purpose also. Most times they don't know what their purpose is, because most times when you find purpose, at least a purpose, when you find that, then you can begin to drill down to what you can create as a solution to sell. So there's something I call the purpose equation. So the purpose equation is the equation to find purpose. So it's basically your skill or experience plus a message plus a vision. That is purpose. Your skill or experience. So basically we have to start with your skill or experience. What is an experience that you have gone through that you learned a lot from that experience, and you feel like you don't want other people to go through that experience? Perhaps most times a bad experience. It can be a bad experience or it can be a good experience. Probably you had a wonderful parenting. You believe that, or how you were successful with launching a product, and probably you didn't make a lot of mistakes. Those are good experiences. Bad experiences, a divorce, business failure, those things are experiences. So that's where we start from. Skills can be, you have digital marketing skills, you have experience with, let's say, farming experience, you have experience with, healthcare experience, whatever skill that you have. So the whole idea is start from there. Then we now decide to tie a message to that. What is the message that people can get out of that experience or skill? So you want to help people can, for example, let's say that your experience is that you were able to build a very successful business. So a message is that you too can build a successful business just by applying this skill. Or I can help, let's say you built a very good beauty business. I can help beauty enthusiasts to build their own 6-figure business. You now tie a message to that. Then the other thing is now we tie a vision to that. The vision has to be in twofold: yourself and for the market. So yourself is, where do you want to be in terms of revenue, in terms of impact also. And then for the market is, what kind of influence do you want to have on the market? What do you want to change in the marketplace? So that's like a vision. So what do you want to change because you are there in the marketplace? So that's basically how we are going to approach that.
Yeah, I love that. You've broken it down into different pieces, and then being able to put that together is, I think, really powerful for people if they can do that. I love that. You also mentioned, so you brought up webinars and summits as something that you really like doing. How do you, just out of curiosity, kind of what have you found to be the best way to market something like a webinar or a summit? Like, what do you, walk us through a little bit about how you put that out there in the world and get people to sign up for those.
Okay. So essentially, people need to understand that webinars are lead generation strategies. Webinars, online summit, they are lead generation strategies. So if I want to do a webinar, I have a webinar upcoming on Monday. So the process is basically, first of all, you identify the topic that you want to teach on. So the topic is where you are providing a holistic solution to an aspect of the problem that people are going through. So a holistic solution, a complete solution to an aspect of the problem people are going through. So for example, the webinar I'm doing on Monday is for teen parents and teen coaches and parent coaches. So, and I recognize that it's a struggle for a lot of them based on my experience working with some of them, that a whole lot of them do not know how to launch online businesses, basically. So, and I basically crafted a topic around that, and I'm doing a webinar, and then I'm going to sell my academy behind that. But the idea is that find a problem that people are going through. You can just do a quick exercise of asking yourself, what are all the possible problems that these people are going through? List all of them down. Don't overthink it. Just as it comes to you, just keep writing all of them. Then if you write all of them on the left, you can make two columns. You can write all of them on the left. Then on the right, you flip each of those problems to topics. So for example, one problem is that they don't know how to use technology. Okay. So if I want to flip that to a topic, I'll say how to launch your online business, even if you don't know how to, even if you're not even if you're not tech savvy.
Yeah.
Okay. Or how to get a lot of clients without being a tech savvy person. Something like that. So the whole idea is to list out all the topics and then flip all of them to topics, all the problems, and then flip all of them to topics, and then you have a lot of topics to play with. So you can choose, if you have a community, do a survey, get a topic, and then do your creatives. So basically, creatives are your video art, your video, your graphic designs. You can use Canva to make some of those things. It's very easy, especially on Canva, to do those things. When you have your designs done and your video, the next thing is to build your funnel. So when it comes to building a funnel, there are systems that you can use that can help you just build everything in one place. So you have ClickFunnels, you have Systeme.io, you have, I think MailChimp has that also. So those places are platforms that you can use. If you have a website, then it might be an integration of your website with probably MailChimp or ConvertKit, all those platforms. So, but that's basically your funnel. Create your web page for people to register. You can have also email follow-ups. So email follow-ups are when people register for your webinar, the automated emails they begin to get to warm them up towards the webinar. So you have those things pre-sequenced so that once people register, they start getting the emails. And then on the webinar day, you can use platforms like Zoom. I like Zoom a lot. You can use other platforms like Webinar Jam, GoToWebinar. All those platforms also work for you to host the webinar. Then for publicity or to promote the webinar, I am a paid advertising person. I run ads on Facebook to get my audience so I run ads, and there's some other thing that I do is that I reach out to people in my community, people who have gone through my programs, and I ask them, can you help me promote this? Can you help me promote this on your platforms? And a lot of them do. And that is built on the fact that I have built a relationship with them. So when I sell to my clients or work with them, I don't just think of them as people who buy my products. I also think of them as potential relationships. So I also think of them as people that I can really connect with for various reasons, build quality relationships with them. So in that way, they help me. So paid advertising, reach out to people. Then if it's an online summit and I'm hosting that with, inviting a lot of people to be part of the speakers, I then ask them to promote on their platforms. But really, I try to own my promotion. So I would have had the budget for it. I run the ads and get the people I want in.
I love that. That's, I think this is going to be really helpful. I mean, you really broke it down. I mean, even from designing the webinar and, the tools you use. So I think that's really going to be helpful for our audience that has maybe never done a webinar. I love that. Okay. So, I want to go back a little bit to, this idea that you really started taking off with your business and the understanding of what you need to do to grow your business when you found an expert, right? And so I found that that's really valuable to kind of be mentored or to find people that are already doing what you want to do, right? As a way to kind of get ahead. But what are some other ways in which you've helped yourself grow and develop further into the person that you want to be? Like, are there I don't know, are you part of mastermind groups or do you continue to get coaching yourself, or do you have meditation practices? What are some of those tools to help you level up?
Okay, so I'm going to say probably 3. Yes, I was just going to mention the mastermind. Just last year, 2 years ago, I didn't have a mastermind. So last year, I thought about why don't I have a mastermind? So I have people like mentors I look up to, but then I want to have colleagues and peers that can, inspire me and keep me accountable also. So I just thought of some of my friends that I know that are doing big stuff that I'm not going to be in their circle and suddenly be the smartest person. So I thought about them, and then I just wrote their names down, and then I called them on the phone, told them, hey, I'm thinking that we do this. And initially I was thinking of it to be like a small group of people thing. When I met them in our first meeting, they just blew it off. Like, let's register it as an organization, have rules and regulation, all those big sounding things, like formalize it and all that. So that was how we created a mastermind. So we always meet. We meet once a month. You are expected to come with what you are doing. Everybody reviews what everybody is doing, and then people can criticize and give ideas also. So I have a mastermind that and they inspire me a lot. They are doing big things, amazing things. So one of them is the biggest in Nigeria. He's the biggest wellness coach in Nigeria. His YouTube channel is over 100,000 subscribers, and he's doing quite a lot of amazing things. So that's for that. Then the second aspect is I'm a very spiritual person, so I pray a lot, and that's my meditation, so to say. So when I have plans or things that I want to do, I pray about it, and then get inspired, get inspiration. I pray, I listen to God, pay attention to how He's speaking to me also, so that I can be sure to adjust things that I want to adjust also. So prayer is a big part of that also, how I grew. Then the last part is action, taking action. That's, for me, it's very important. No matter what plans you make, if you don't back it up with action, they are just going to be plans. No result comes out of it. No learning comes out of it. So that's, for me, is very important. So if the fact that how I reached out to you to be on this podcast was me taking action and when we booked for the appointment, I think I missed the first appointment. And then by the second one, I had to schedule that on my reminder, my alarm. I have an alarm that rings and tells me, hey, you have this to do. And that is me pushing myself to make sure that I take the actions that I need to take. So people need to understand that whatever results that you want to achieve is based on how much effort you put into it. That is action. So that's basically the 3 things. Number 1 is I have a mastermind. So I have a group of people that inspire you, motivate you, keep you accountable. There is no jealousy. There is no basically positive energy. Second is, for me, if that works for you, pray. I pray a lot on my plans and listen to God tell me what to do, what not to do, basically. And then the last thing is action. Take action on the things that you learn. Whatever it is that you've heard me say today, the most important thing that you can do out of this is to go and try out something, go and implement something, set up an account, plan for your webinar, choose a topic, just do something. That's how you learn, and that's how you grow.
Yeah, I love those. I love each of those points, and they've been powerful in my life as well.
Yeah,
I think, what you mentioned about putting yourself out there, there's so many people that are afraid to do that for some reason. I grew up being very introverted, and so I totally understand that there might be some shyness or insecurity, but if you imagine, the only way a business can grow is if people know about it, and so you have to be talking about it, you have to be telling people, you have to be making connections like this. It's the only way to do it, as uncomfortable as that is. And part of the process of being or becoming successful is overcoming that, if that's a problem for you. Let's talk about some of the
And to speak to the shyness thing that you mentioned also is that the biggest way to overcome a shyness or lack of confidence is to face whatever it is that you want to do and recognize the fact that you are going to make mistakes, and recognize the fact that you are not perfect, and recognize the fact that you don't have to compare yourself with somebody who is like 10 years ahead of you in the game, or even 2 years ahead of you in the game. The fact is that you are not on the same levels. So you are looking at somebody and you think that, oh, this person is big. Can I measure up to this person? You know, you don't need to do that. The most noble thing that you can do for yourself is to rate yourself by who you were yesterday. So that's the most noble thing you can do for yourself. So the fact that you wake up today and you are better off than you were yesterday, that's the best thing. Don't rate yourself by somebody else, rate yourself by who you were yesterday.
I love that. That's such a great reminder. It's just that principle of, you know, little bit every day, right? Like you said, it's that just gradual improvements eventually turn into big improvements. So yeah, I love that. And it's such a problem for people in today's world to compare themselves, right? And so great reminder to get away from that and not fall into the trap. Let's talk about some of the challenges you faced in business. I mean, I don't know what it's like in Nigeria, where you're from. I doing a little bit of work with a nonprofit in Liberia, and I don't know if it's similar at all because I don't know Africa, but I've heard about some of the economic challenges there and the struggles with their people, and so I don't know. I mean, are there challenges specific to where even you live that have made it hard for you as a business or someone that wants to succeed in the world? Do you want to speak to that a little bit, or?
Yeah. Yes. So the challenges basically are most of the things that people abroad have easily are things that we have to struggle for. Probably you have to provide it for yourself. So sort of like we are our own government.
Yeah.
So, exactly. So there are things like, you have internet is not very strong. Those are challenges. So you have to make sure that you have like 3 different internet services whenever you're doing it. So, and one of the things that does for us is that it makes us stronger, because I don't know how many, if you know Nigerians, you know that Nigerians are dogged fighters. They will fight through anything to get results. So those are like when it comes to the infrastructure challenges that we have. When it comes to the business aspect, the challenges, I think they are basically the same thing. One of the biggest challenges that I had was being able to focus on a business, trust and focus. So when you trust an idea or a business idea that you have, then you have to focus on it and say no to every other thing. So you find yourself trying to do a little bit of that, a little bit of this, just because you want to make ends meet, you want to get the money here, and you find yourself spreading your limited resources on various things. Why not put all that resource in terms of energy, money, time into something and see that thing grow? So that was one of the challenges that I had. And so I had to learn that the hard way, especially when I noticed that it was bringing me a lot of struggle, it was hurting my relationships also, because I'm very big on working with clients and building relationship with them. Because you are everywhere, you're not able to serve somebody very well, the person knows. And I decided to just focus on on coaching, consulting, and that. So that's when it comes to the business aspect of it. Aside that, no other challenges. The most important thing is, which is related to the last thing I said, being able to know where you are at time. Not trying to compare yourself to, this is where I want to be, that kind of a thing, and knowing that, and being able to recognize and be grateful for the progress that you are making. Also, I think that can be a challenge for people, knowing that you are not where you were yesterday, And most times when you lose that that knowledge, when you don't have that knowledge, you just pressure yourself unnecessarily. You are just always anxious, and that's not good for business. And it just tells on every other aspect of your business or your life. So these are the things that I've mentioned are the challenges. Number one, infrastructure challenges that we have in Nigeria, Africa generally, not knowing the things to say no to, and focus on specific things that matter. And then the last is being grateful for where you are, and just being grateful for where you are, and not rating yourself by comparing yourself to other people unnecessarily.
Yeah, I love those are all great points. You mentioned earlier getting comfortable with failure. So I'm kind of curious, what are some specific failures that you can point to, along your path where you maybe learned some valuable lessons?
Okay. So I think I've mentioned my first failure. That was when I was trying the affiliate marketing business. It was very confusing, because I can still picture it in my mind the day that I finished. If you know the amount of effort all through the night, because I had no knowledge of online business. So this was just me trying it out for the first time. And then suddenly, after doing all that work all through the night, getting a little sleep, waking up in the morning and find that nothing happened.
Yeah.
So I think that was my first failure. The other failures that I've had is...
Sorry, real quick, can I touch on that? So just to help our audience. So because I think a lot of people kind of go through that, right? They have an expectation of something without realizing really what needs to happen in order to make it successful. So in that case, I just want to point out, it was probably likely that you didn't have any traffic to whatever page it was, right? And I think a lot of people underestimate how much volume it actually takes to get a sale. So you need a lot of views. You need a lot of people to come and see what you're doing before you get buyers. So I just wanted to point that out real quick, that it probably could have worked eventually, right? Had you just generated enough traffic to it.
Yes.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. So thank you. So that's the first failure. The other failure, and pardon me, I'm not somebody that is very, very how do I put it? Like, when failures happen, I begin to brood on it and get worked up on it. I probably may not even notice it as failure. It's just in my wiring. So I have to make extra efforts to think of the things that I did that did not succeed. Okay, so I think the immediate one I can think of was just 2 weeks ago, I did a launch. I was in a launch for my academy. I had high expectations for it. I collaborated with one of the biggest people in Africa. The lady I mentioned that is the number one parent coach in Africa, and I collaborated with her. The whole idea was it was going to be a mega launch. But then I finished the launch, and then only one person signed up for what I was selling as at then. So I had expected that immediately after that, a lot of people would sign up and pay and all those things. But then only one person signed up. Frankly, for me, like I said, I wouldn't call it a failure, because I don't know how to call things failure. Okay, yeah. I just look at them as feedback. So, but that was so that was something not going well. The next thing I thought about is I started thinking, okay, what did I do wrong? Was I supposed to focus on another thing? And I now got the inspiration, because I was praying about it, and I got the inspiration that, why are you trying to do this general thing? So I like blue ocean market, especially in Africa. There are so many blue ocean markets that people have. Blue ocean is markets that people have not penetrated. So it's a hungry market, but there's not a lot of people in that market, and you can go into that market. So I like that a lot. And I have a blue ocean market that paid out well for me. And I thought to myself, why not focus on this market? In fact, beyond Nigeria, take it global. Just before I came on this call, I did the ads promoting that offer globally. I'm targeting US and the United Kingdom. So, and this is a huge market that people are not focusing on. Why not position in that market? So I decided to just leave the offer that I made earlier. I'm still going to serve the one person that paid for what I offered earlier, but then I'm going to focus more on this blue ocean market, because that is one of my core, my strength zones. I'm very big on blue ocean markets. I can spot them easily and then focus on them. So I think that's how I'll answer your question about failures.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think, okay, so a couple of things there. The blue ocean strategy, I think, is very important for people to understand. I love that you brought that up. And it's exactly what you said, right? A market that isn't already saturated with a lot of competition. So find something that's wide open where there's a lot of opportunity and not a lot of people serving those people in that market. And then the other part, just the ability that you have to not look at things as failures, but instead look at it as feedback. I think that's very powerful. The way that I frame that is that everything for me is a data point, right? And so everything's an experiment where I'm just collecting data, and I need a lot of data to be able to make informed decisions. And so that's how I view it. And so everything for me is an experiment, to just see what happens, and you learn from it and move forward. And I think that ability, that skill, because I really think it's a skill that you can develop, is key for people to succeeding in business and as entrepreneurs in general. So I'm really glad you brought that up. We've got a few minutes left. Tell us, let's get into your offer and what's the invitation you have to our audience listening today?
Okay. So the invitation I have for the audience today is that if you are in a place where, I know, in our pre-con, I mentioned a program that I was packaging, but that's part of the program I decided to leave out and not try to promote that. But what I am very particular on right now is people who you just basically want to have an expert guide you on how to take your message into the market and grow your business. So I have my one-on-one coaching program. You can just book a consultation with me. It's a free consultation. We'll speak, and then we can take it all from there.
I love that. So yeah, I mean, you obviously add a lot of value to people's lives. The people that work with you sound like they're doing really well. So you and clearly you've demonstrated you know what you're talking about. So I would definitely recommend that anyone work with you. What's kind of the last thing you want to leave with people, just to wrap up the show? Is there anything we had to talk about that you think would be valuable for people to know, especially those maybe starting out that are kind of brand new? Give them kind of a step up in their journey.
Okay. So I think it is related to the last, what you said about trying and failure, is that just what you mentioned, that failures are more like data points, and the people need to understand that just like you said, the more you need to gift yourself the volume, a huge volume of failures. You need to gift yourself that. So that basically means that you need to get determined that you are going to succeed. So long as you are sure about the message, about what you want, the solution you want to provide, you have to keep on working it. It has taken me how many years? 10 years now, 9 years now. I started professionally in 2014. Before then, I was acquiring a lot of skills. But it has taken me 9 years to get to where I am, and I'm not still where I want to be. Okay. So the point is that, but the beautiful thing is that if you can get coaching by somebody who has gone through the process, and then get coaching and commit to working, action, you eventually grow. And in fact, the tools that we have today, you will grow faster, and you'll be amazed at the results that you produce.
I love that. Thank you so much for being on the show, Richard. It's been a pleasure to have you. Yeah. For our audience listening, if you love this episode, please share it with others. That really helps us out. Make sure you're following our channel and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to this on. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.